Be calling you a radical. The Caldwell Cathedral. So, God, I just missed it. A giant flock of geese just came right over the mighty Mount Ogden, right in front of it. I could hear them. They're there. See them? And there was 3 flocks in front of them, moving south. The mighty Wasatch. So I want to get this because we have a new mayor. Now, I've worked for every mayor since Dirks. I started working for Dirks when I was a kid because I worked for George Pappas. He's in his 90s. That's his buildings there. I worked for every one of them. I started plastering at 16 years old. And anyway, I've restored my hands in every one of these buildings, every single one of them. And I could write a whole book just on 25th restoration and the corruption. These are on the National Registry. So I've renamed this. This is the worst mayor in the history of the city, bar none. The way he disrespected me, we were up there at the Weber County building, which what a nightmare piece of shit that's built. They've had to restore that already twice, all tore to hell with the fake EFA shit on it. And we were there. Remember, they were going to try to move the BML here, Bureau of Wild Management. We had the thing. He acted all stupid to me. Got all stupid with me right in front of public, whatever. I'm like, dude, you're a fool. He's a fool. He's the worst mayor in the history of the city. So I've named this the Caldwell Cathedral. I want to get this on Sunday morning. The Caldwell Cathedral. So I want to talk about the Caldwell Cathedral. What a thumbprint for his tenure. All that's happened here the entire time that he's been, we've slowly, systematically tore down anything authentic here. Violated federal law. Violated these buildings are all on the National Register, up and down. There's rules. The rules are you can't use fake stucco. Go up there to the Star Noodle. That's all fake on there. That's illegal as hell what they did. That building's illegal. I mean, there's a bunch of these that, as far as the restoration goes, there's fake EFAs on them. What they did here, we have all kinds of laws protecting these buildings. Here comes the police right now. I hope they can talk to me. So I call it the Caldwell Cathedral. Yeah, the county sheriff. Here it comes. Good. We'll get him on video. See what he says. So we got a new mayor, Ben. And these guys must like it. He's sitting there watching me. He's Weber County Sheriff. Good. Hope he comes and talks to me. So we're getting we got a new mayor. Well, he won Big Ben, but he's already on the city council. He played football at Weber State. So go Rashid today. So I call this the Caldwell Cathedral. They systematically tore down every building up and down Washington Boulevard. And I'm so tired of all this tunnels under 25th Street, blah, 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 blah. Come on. People don't even know the history of the street. The street was all brothels, all prostitution. 60 to 80,000 people a day used to come through that building right there, a day. And so I wanted to get this before it burns down, which will probably happen. How's that even allowed? How did they ever let that even happen? I mean, 3-story monstrosity. I know there's elevation rules here. There's all kinds of rules. So it's been shut down for how long now? Because the company that built it was corrupt. Didn't pay their subcontractors. We'll quote George Pappas right here when I was a kid. Kevin, this is 1979. They're doing the restoration projects. And real friendly around here. Friendly police. Remember right there at the coffee shop? On a 102-degree day when I'm fighting full of cancer, and I'm walking to the bus over there. From the bus here is 102 degrees, and I walk in because I used my iPad to get some Wi-Fi. at the coffee shop right there, Grounds for coffee. And I walked in there and I asked for a cup of water, and the kid called the cops on me, refused to give me. That's against the law, by the way. I found out. I did some digging on that. That was against the law what he did. I ran into that kid after, and I just walked up to him. I take the high road. They take the low. So I want to get this up because I'm waiting. I'm a mall walker. The mall's not open. So the Caldwell Cathedral. Get the crosswalk, Blanch. Get the crosswalk. What a great shot. So, speaking of Weber State basketball, they play Navajo Tech tomorrow. J-Tech. Do you know Wat Misaka, the first player of the history of the color of the NBA? Grew up right there. Right there. That's where he was born and raised, right there. Here comes Ogden City Popo. So, hopefully they come over and talk to me. Maybe they're a little more friendly than Weber County. I doubt it. We'll see. It's like we were having a discussion about police. Good cop, bad cop. There are plenty of great cops in this town. Great guys. In fact, the chief of police, I think he's a great guy. I mean, I think he does good work, but you got some cops in there that like to beat people up still. They're a little excessive, but, it has to be cleaned up from within. So, Big Ben, he played football at Weber State in 98. I remember when Matt Talbot was on the football field. So, Wat Misaka grew up right there. Really? Yeah. First player. How come Weber State doesn't mention his name? Do you know about not J Village? J Village, that's Fukushima. Ooh, don't even get me going there. J Street here. So what happened, they come in on the train, they were headed to San Francisco. There's a huge contingency of Japanese descent. Major snowstorm. This time of year right here, like 3 feet. Snowed in the trains. So they had to stay here. They just stayed. And so Watt played right up the street at the old Deseret Gym, which building has been vacant for 20-something years. Leslie, that's the grandest building in this city. I restored the Masonic Temple, hung from a rope, hand chiseled. I've done so much restoration in this town. I want that building. If I was rich, I would force their hand. I would sue them and force them to sell that building. That's the grandest building in the city. That's the old Weber State Gymnasium, where Wat Misaka won 2 national championships. That's right, Weber State won 2 national championships. Oh, they're just adjacent. Coach Peterson. Wasn't Byron Scott's real father on that? Byron Scott's from here. You didn't know that, did you? Like right around the corner from here. Yeah. His real father, Alan Holmes, up there. I'll quote the great 95-year-old fan that I sit with. We'll be at the game tomorrow. He says, when I became a Weber State hardcore fan, 1959. I says, oh, that's the year we won the national championship. Yeah. Because Vern Garner down at University of Utah refused to play Alan Holmes. Yeah. Well, he was all that. I mean, there's a lot of great. Wat Misaka. Whoa. Vern Gardner, well, of course, he's from Acton, Wyoming. He taught school at Bonneville High School. I used to tell people he played for the Lakers. He's got rings. I mean, NBA championship rings. How about the great Arnie Farron? He's from here. They have Watts number retired hanging in the rafters at the university. It took all those years. By the way, Tom Chambers is from here. I know Tom personally. He's saying Weber County is me, born and raised. How come he's not in the Hall of Fame? I'm going to tag this. Put Tom Chambers in the Hall of Fame. Put him in the Hall of Fame. Important video. I'm thrilled I got those 3 giant flocks of geese were coming across here, right across the mine. What a view. What a vista there, right? Where are we going to watch freaking Rashid play today? The Saints. I don't know, but he ain't going to be no Saint next year, thank God. Last time I talked to him was right here. Or second to last time was right here on 25th. So I want to get this up, this piece of shit. How did this happen? Because the city's corrupt. I'll quote George right there. I'm 18, 19 years old. I stuck on these walls. I mean, that Altice, which was an old brothel, which used to be the Earl, burned down when I was a kid, 68, I believe. And so that wall was bare and vacant. I was plastering that for George. I was 18 or 19, 78 or 79. And anyway, plaster across there. I found this old slot machine because I used to have to go down in the bottom of that building and get water. And it was a Chinese restaurant. It was old. It was really, God, it was creepy down there. I've been all through all these tunnels. They're not as cool as you think they are. These tunnels ain't all that cool. And Ogden and Weber County is way more than, 25th Street's way more than the tunnels. I mean, the history here blow your mind. Jack Dempsey lived right there. So did Billy the Kid. You know, remember he was hiding out for all those years. Nobody freaking, there's all kinds of new data that says he hid out here in Ogden because the train, the great Junction City. I want to buy the Raptors. Well, not buy the Raptors. I mean, I think they should kick them out. I honestly do. I mean, Ogden City runs that. What they've let that run down to. You go over there and look at the Raptors Stadium. Ogden City owns that stadium. Look how run down it is. You know, Back is just bacon. He's extracting money, him and Lindquist. That's what the Lindquist are brownies. Come on, hello. And so, I got so many stories along here. I could write 10 books, but they blackball me. They hate me here, you know, which I don't understand. It's like Cole Eisenhower's dad came up to me, who I've known my whole life. I got to tell you, Blanch, thank you for, supporting Cole and doing his work. You know, your name comes up in these city council meetings all the time. He says, yeah, I'm not going to let them do to Cole what they did to me. You know, promised me a plaque, Bernie Allen and Randy Richards on the Masonic Temple at hand chiseled, not with a crew, by myself. Save that. They were going to tear that down in 1905. That's Leslie Hodson's first. Leslie Hodson's first alone protects it, let alone the 1905. Both Roosevelt's in that building. You know, 2550 Washington Boulevard. What a building. Oh, my God. I mean, all the work I've done, the tree and the children who built out laughing, oh, we'll put a plaque up for you. Why do they lie? And I did it for free. The Children's Museum. I donated my work, and it was me, physically me, not a crew of exploited labor. How the fuck did they let this so? Caldwell, and I work for every single mayor, every one of them, clear back. I taught with Matt Godfrey at Weber State. Smart, and he's married to an Allen. By the way, when I did the Masonic Temple, I mean, that was what, $70,000-$80,000. I traded some legal retention fees to those two attorneys, but I could write up a whole book on how they got ripped off on the Egyptian when they restored it. They paid me in cash. 2009. So, $70,000-$80,000, which was a dirt cheap bargain, hand chilled a little bit, hung from a rope, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Oh, so I'm restoring that building with Grant next to it. Still got the original logo. According to her, this monstrosity has really took out the integrity of that building. That building is 1890s or 1870s. Watch the documentary, the Blood Hotel right here. Now they do yoga in the Blood Hotel. Murder for hire hotel right there, for real. For real. You'd call anywhere, you wanted somebody, everybody had to pass through here. The junction, everybody passed through right here on this street. Oh, remember that great photo I used to post around with the herd of elephants? That's Going Harvey's freaking circus. Parading right here. The people, the population of Ogden's went, they turn everything down. So I'm working over there. I have to go in there and get water. I found this slot machine in a case one time, big yellow thing, and I'm like, God, I'm going to get that thing. It's still in the crate, but the owner of the building, spotted it after I spotted it. I'm like, oh, okay, like that. Of course, they got it. So I'm working there, And there's your friendship slave. Organically, I own Blanch Plaster. All my crew has all died recently, but in the last 2 years. But we were big. We did major projects all over, giant projects. And they were all people that I grew up with that worked for me. You at Robin, he's dead. Remember his one leg got sawed off right over there. The train ran him over. Remember that? We was sleeping out there and sawed off his leg, and he still ride his bike over there. Grundy died in that fiery crash up Weaver Canyon, shut down the thing. They're all dead. Jerry just recently took a stroke and died. He squatted in the one uh, building over here, the beautiful, grand, the Bertha Eccles building, the Berthana. He squatted in the top of that for freaking years and years and years, many years in the top, because they just let it go to shit. He just lived there. He squatted. He had a nice place up in there. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody even knew. He's dead. So Butch, my big lead man, Chavez, he died. When they take the proc and trial, you spend your whole life perfecting these skills, and they rip them out of your hands. The exploiting of labor and the fake stucco, the artisans, they just destroy. They ripped our guts out. What are we supposed to do? You spend 20, 30 years perfecting a craft like that with a hawk and trial. You ever seen me with a hawk and trial? You should have seen all those guys. They stayed with me for decades. That better was murdered in Wyoming. Calvin just died. Remember Calvin riding his bike? He worked for me for years. He was Navajo. He fell down. Granted, he was a hardcore alcoholic, but I wonder what. You stripped the hawk and trowel out of our hands, and these car salesmen exploiting labor just destroy us. And the junky, cheap work that gets done, there's no craftsmen left. They got rid of them. You go back to all those craftsmen from that era. I did all the plaster work. You can go back. Ken Hollis did all the concrete work. You can go back to, what's the name, did all the drywall work. All the artisans, they're all pretty well dead. We spend 20, 30 years perfecting our craft, and then they just, in a swipe, rip it out of us, rip our guts out, start using exploited labor. There's E-Verify. Paying cash is okay now. It used to be, I was telling if I pulled up on a job here in Ogden, Utah, with a crew of exploited labor from the South, the homeowner would come out with a gun. They didn't stand for that shit. And the state police, it's still against the law. But, we see laws. So I'm going to call it the Caldwell Cathedral. So I'm plastering over that, and I go in there one day, and I go around there, and I'm like, there's a dead body behind the building right there. It's been beat to death with a hoe. The hoe's all bloodied right there, and I'm like, whoa. So George calls police. Cops don't even come. They just bring corners where I don't think it made the paper. There was so much. The El Baracho right there used to be a murder of a freaking day. Poncho's right there. There's a great fresco in there. There's holes in the wall for both holes. There's a great fresco in there they covered up illegally. This is on the national registers, but they do whatever the hell they want. None of them are from here. They roll in here like the guy that owns the Sardine. He ain't from here. And the Monarch, he needs to go back to Montana where he came from. And the AstroTurf art scene is pathetic. The Dumpkey, God, don't even get me going on that thing. None of them they don't even live here, never did live here. Oh, Grandpa did freaking 185 years ago. Okay. Bow to him. So, they load the body up. It was about 10 days later, I'm mixing. Everybody say, where's your mixer? Where's your mixer? And I said, there's Jerry and Stacy right there. Our mixers. Stacy's the only one left alive, I understand. I understand he's homeless. God, what a worker, what an athlete. We did such beautiful artisan work all over this town, all over. Such beautiful, incredible work for decades, and they just rip us. That's what they do to artisans. They hate artisans here. Look at the Ogden sign. Got rid of the neon, tear down these freaking incredible structures and buildings. They tore down West Waverly Elementary. Leslie Hodson masterpiece. Freaking God. These are cathedrals. Well, this is the new cathedral. So George tells me one day, I said, I got to get a new hoe. I broke my hoe, mixing hoe. Well, there's that one laying there behind the thing. It's got blood all over it to murder with. Yes, so it was sawed off hoe, which I like those sawed off ones. I would cut them off anyway. I used it for freaking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs. It's like my Marshalltown trial I used to use. I mean, it would last me literally thousands of jobs, literally. You know, then it got to the point now I would wear out a trial every 2 weeks, these cheap junkers. I would wear out pairs of boots, I'd go that hard. So I get done with that wall. It used to be so grand and beautiful. I used to have my chicken trap all over these buildings. They tore down the old Mint on Washington. That was my work. I mean, there's lots of them just coming down. The old facade on the Weber State Mayor, Madsen, I did all that building. They tore it off. You know, they turned down all my work. You know, Kevin, write me a bill for $1,200. I says, you only owe me $600. You got to realize minimum wage then was about $1.75, $2 an hour. You know, this is 1978 or 9. Money was money then. American can. One day you'll realize why I use the can. Yeah, that's there. All roads lead to Ogden. I said, George, you only owe me half that. The city's paying for half. I said, ain't that a little corrupt? And he says, let me tell you something, kid. Ogden, Utah. One day you will wake up and realize that the economy here is corruption. Without corruption, there is no economy in Utah. Oh boy, did I learn that one the hard way. Stand on integrity here and see what happens to you. They blackball you. It's all about the fake stucco, the fake EFAs, the molded up shit. It's all, the Kokomo. I remember when that idiot Western Sucker put that fake shit over there. Molded up piece of shit. It's toxic as hell. They're all over Ogden. Against building code. Against building code. They wouldn't enforce the building code. I'm like, what the hell? There's a building code here. You can't do this fake shit. Well, if this is a perfect example of it's still the same old, how did they get away with this? How did they get away with this? You know, it's unbelievable, right? So I'm going to tag this. It's perfect thumbprint of his tenure. Worst mayor in history, by far. That's saying a lot. Oh, y'all see this? And this is new stucco right here. Oh, it's so bad. I remember they called me to fix this just a couple years after. It's all busted up, fake EFAs. These are new. So then they call the cops on me for asking for a cup of water. Remember that? So I've named it the Caldwell Cathedral. We'll see how the new mayor goes. Big Ben. Wow, where's your crown? Where's your crown? The Caldwell Cathedral, Ogden, Utah, 25th, 25 Drive, USA. Stay tuned.